Welcome to the deep dive. Today, you've shared some truly compelling material about a really unique and powerful part of the Ramayana, the Sundarkand. Think of it as, well, the heroic heart of the epic, focusing on the incredible Hanuman. You call it a beautiful chapter. So let's dive right into why it holds such deep significance.
Exactly. And this isn't going to be just a summary of events. Our aim here is really to unpack the core insights from your sources about, the Sundarkand's history, Hanuman's central role, and its lasting impact.
Right.
You mentioned you're looking to get knowledge quickly but thoroughly, and, well, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, the material you provided is fascinating. It includes quite a comprehensive study tracing the Sundarkand right from its origins in Valmiki's Sanskrit Ramayana,
Way back.
all the way to Goswami Tulsidas's transformative Ramcharitmanas centuries later.
And our goal really is to understand precisely why this particular section, with its intense focus on Hanuman, is so important spiritually, culturally, maybe even as a source of practical guidance. I think there might be some surprising details and maybe some real aha moments for you here.
Looking forward to it. Okay, so let's unpack the name itself, Sundarkand. It literally means beautiful chapter or beautiful episode. But it's clear from the sources that this beauty is, well, it's more than skin deep, isn't it?
Absolutely. What's fascinating is how many layers there are to this. First, you've got the inherent beauty of Hanuman's character.
Okay.
He's, unparalleled devotion, immense strength, sharp intellect, complete selflessness, and this profound humility. We even learned his mother affectionately called him Sundar.
Oh, that's a wonderful detail. Sundar, meaning beautiful.
Right. It suggests true beauty resides in those inner qualities.
And it's also about the impact of his actions, right? The hope he brings.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the beauty also comes from the hope and the sheer joy Hanuman brings back to Rama and Sita by finding her. It ends their deep sorrow. And for us, as readers or listeners, just witnessing his extraordinary power, his valor, his intelligence that's inspiring in itself, beautiful outcomes can come from really courageous actions.
So it's beautiful because it marks a real turning point in the epic, a shift.
Exactly. And that raises a key point.
Right.
The Sundarkand is a crucial turning point. It's where the possibility of overcoming Ravana, overcoming evil, truly starts to blossom, all fueled by Hanuman's selfless devotion.
And it's pretty remarkable how the focus shifts almost entirely to Hanuman in this part. He really becomes the central hero of this Kanda, this chapter.
Yes, that's a very significant observation. The sources really highlight this. It's the only chapter where Hanuman, not Rama, is the main protagonist.
Interesting.
It truly emphasizes his vital role in this absolutely crucial part of the story. His courage, his dedication, his unwavering spirit just shine through.
So let's delve into the origins then. We know it's part of the Ramayana, but
Okay.
where does it fit in Valmiki's original work?
Certainly. So the Sundarkand's roots are firmly in the original Sanskrit Ramayana, which is traditionally attributed to sage Valmiki, the Adi Kavi, the first poet.
Right.
In Valmiki's massive work, the Sundarkanda holds a very strategic place. It's the fifth of the 7 Kandas.
And why is that placement strategic?
Well, it comes directly before the Yuddha Kanda, the war in Lanka. So it acts as that pivotal turning point we just discussed. It sets the stage. Valmiki's version gives this incredibly detailed, vivid account of Hanuman's journey and his adventures in Lanka.
Okay. And then fast forward centuries later, we get Goswami Tulsidas and his Ramcharitmanas. Now, this was revolutionary, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Tulsidas composed the Ramcharitmanas in the 16th century, and crucially, he wrote it in Awadhi.
Which is a vernacular, a local dialect of Hindi.
Exactly, Eastern Hindi. And what's really fascinating here is that Tulsidas deliberately broke down the linguistic barriers. For ages, this sacred knowledge was kind of locked away in Sanskrit, accessible mainly to scholars and the Brahmin class.
Ah, so he was democratizing it.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. By writing in Awadhi, he made spiritual wisdom accessible to, well, everyone. And this just ignited a huge bhakti movement that's loving devotion across North India.
So the story of Rama became part of everyday life.
Deeply integrated, yeah.
And it wasn't just the language change, was it? The structure of the Ramcharitmanas itself, with its dialogues, that's also quite distinctive.
That's right. Tulsidas structured it with these layers of conversations, like between Shiva and Parvati or Bharadwaj and Yajnavalkya.
Right.
And he even implies this kind of personal dialogue he's having with Rama throughout the text. It adds these really rich theological and devotional dimensions. It's not just a straight narrative.
Let's circle back to that name, Sundar. It seems really significant that Hanuman was called this and that the chapter focusing on his heroism gets the same name.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
sources really reinforce that connection. Sundar, meaning beautiful, is directly linked both to Hanuman himself and to that positive turning point his actions represent. It's all beautifully interconnected.
It's amazing how widespread the Ramayana story became. The sources mention all these regional adaptations across India.
Yes, what's truly fascinating is just the sheer reach and adaptability of the Sundarkand and the Ramayana as a whole. You see versions in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Gujarati, Assamese, Bengali, just so many languages and regions.
Wow.
And while each one has its own unique cultural flavor and linguistic nuances, those core themes, devotion, courage, perseverance, they resonate universally. It really speaks to the story's profound power.
Okay, let's learn a bit more about Goswami Tulsidas himself, the author of the Ramcharitmanas. He seems like he was much more than just a poet.
Oh, indeed. Tulsidas, born around 1543, died 1623 in Varanasi. He was a highly revered saint and poet, deeply devoted to Rama. He spent much of his adult life in Varanasi and Ayodhya, and his influence is still very tangible there today.
Like with the Tulsi Ghat and the Sankat Malkin temple.
Exactly. Tulsi Ghat on the Ganges, named in his honor. And the Sankat Mokin Temple, which is dedicated to Hanuman, he founded it right on the spot where tradition says he actually had a vision of Hanuman.
Incredible.
There's also this strong tradition that he was an incarnation of Valmiki himself. And it's believed that his own personal suffering really inspired his work, that he had this desire to alleviate human pain through devotion.
And beyond the Ramcharitmanas, he wrote quite a lot, didn't he?
He did, yes. While the Ramcharitmanas is clearly his masterpiece, he also composed other really significant devotional works. There's the Krishna Gitavali, which are songs to Krishna.
Oh, interesting. So broader than just Rama.
Yeah, showing his broader Vaishnavite devotion. Then there's the Vinay Patrika verses addressed to sacred places and deities, mainly Rama and Sita, and the Kavi Tavali, which also narrates Rama's story.
And then the prayers to Hanuman, which are incredibly popular even today.
Yes, those are absolutely crucial. The Hanuman Chalisa, the Hanuman Bahuk, the Hanuman Sankatamachana, these specific prayers for Hanuman's protection, for healing, for solace, they're immensely significant.
Right.
And what's fascinating is how they really highlight Tulsidas' focus on Hanuman as this direct link, almost a conduit of divine grace, especially for people living in the Kali Yuga, the current age.
So what was Tulsidas really trying to achieve with his writing? What was his core message, his intent?
Well, his primary theological aim was definitely to emphasize bhakti, that loving devotion. He wanted to make the divine feel accessible, relatable, through very human emotions like friendship and loyalty. His approach was very inclusive, and that directly led to the widespread worship of Rama becoming so central in North India.
But he was more than just a religious figure, wasn't he? The sources suggest he had a pretty significant societal impact, too.
Absolutely. Tulsidas was a key social and religious reformer. By writing in Awadhi, he was directly addressing issues like illiteracy.
By making scripture accessible.
Exactly. And also tackling moral decline by promoting ethical values through this shared spiritual narrative that everyone could understand. He's even credited with initiating the Ramlila plays.
Oh, the folk theater versions.
Yes, these amazing folk theater adaptations that brought the Ramayana to life for millions, especially during the Navaratri festival. His work essentially became a living scripture, blending poetry and spiritual wisdom. And he strongly advocated chanting Rama's name, Ram Nam, as a path to spiritual liberation.
Okay, now let's really dive into the heart of the Sundarkand itself. Hanuman's heroic journey to Lanka. It's clearly more than just a great adventure story, isn't it?
It absolutely is. The sources give us a wonderful narrative summary, really highlighting the extraordinary nature of Hanuman's actions. It all kicks off when Jambavan, the wise bear king, reminds Hanuman of his forgotten powers.
Right, he'd forgotten them due to a childhood curse.
Exactly, a crucial catalyst. Kind of tells us that recognizing our own potential is often the first step, doesn't it?
Yeah, true. And then comes that incredible leap across the ocean 100 yojanas, which is a huge distance.
Yes, the divine leap from Mount Mahendra. It's just this monumental act of faith and courage. And during this journey, he faces these fascinating obstacles.
Like Mount Manaka rising from the sea to offer him rest.
Exactly. Mount Manaka pops up, offers him a break, but Hanuman, totally focused on his mission, just politely declines. He keeps going.
Prioritizing the mission.
Completely.
Yeah.
Then there's Sarasa, the serpent demoness mother of Nagas, who tests his valor. And what's fascinating here is how Hanuman uses his intellect.
How so?
Well, he cleverly changes his size, shrinking down small to outsmart her, rather than just trying to overpower her. It shows his wit.
Smart.
And then there's Simhika, this demoness who could catch creatures by their shadows. Hanuman overcomes her with his physical prowess, so you see this mix of strength and smarts.
And finally, he makes it to Lanka and has to navigate this enemy city.
Yes, he defeats Lankini, the guardian demoness of the city, and then he shrinks himself down to search undetected. He even encounters Vibhishan,
Ravana's brother.
Ravana's righteous brother, yes, who is secretly a devotee of Rama. That becomes a very important alliance later on. And then, of course, the main event. He finds Sita in the Ashokavatika Grove.
That must have been such a pivotal moment, finding her after all that searching. Hope amidst despair.
Absolutely. He witnesses her being threatened by Ravana, but he also sees her find some solace from Trijata, surprisingly, a demoness who actually becomes Sita's supporter and friend.
Ah, interesting.
Then Hanuman reveals himself, gives her Rama's ring as proof, and receives Sita's Chudamani, her crest jewel, to take back to Rama.
But she doesn't go with him.
No. Interestingly, Sita refuses to be carried away by Hanuman. She insists that Rama himself must come and defeat Ravana to rescue her honorably.
Okay. And then things get pretty dramatic.
They really do. Hanuman, partly to gauge the enemy's strength and partly as a warning, goes on a rampage. He destroys the beautiful Ashokavatika Grove, kills Ravana's son Akshay Kumara and many other Rakshasa warriors. Then he deliberately allows himself to be captured by Megnath, another powerful son of Ravana.
Why allow himself to be captured?
To get an audience with Ravana himself. He's brought into Ravana's assembly, delivers this bold message demanding Sita's release.
I see.
Very. Ravana, furious, orders his tail to be set on fire. But Hanuman uses this to his advantage, escapes and leaps around the city, setting the whole of Lanka ablaze, the famous Lanka Dahan.
What a sequence. And then he returns successfully.
He makes the leap back across the ocean, rejoins the waiting Vanara troop in Sugriva, and delivers the incredible hopeful news. Sita has been found. The Sundarkand essentially concludes with Vibhishan having been kicked out by Ravana for advising him to return Sita, seeking refuge with Rama. And then Rama's army reaches the shores of the ocean, ready for the next phase, building the bridge to Lanka.
It's such an action-packed, thrilling part of the story. But as we touched on earlier, it's clearly meant to be more than just narrative, right? There's a deeper allegorical significance to Hanuman's journey.
Absolutely. If we really connect this to the bigger picture, Hanuman's journey is seen as this powerful allegory for our own spiritual paths for self-discovery. That massive ocean crossing, for instance.
The leap of faith.
Exactly. It can be seen as the immense effort needed to cross the ocean of samsara, worldly existence. It really is a leap of faith. It suggests personal growth often requires tackling what seems impossible.
And those encounters with the demons he faces along the way.
They're often interpreted as representing our own internal struggles. Sarasa, for example, could embody temptations and distractions. And Hanuman, using his intellect, not just force, highlights the importance of wisdom in overcoming them. Simhika, the shadow catcher, might symbolize things like self-doubt or negative tendencies that try to pull us down.
And Lankini, the guardian of Lanka.
She could represent the ego or perhaps the conditioned mind that needs to be overcome or subdued before you can reach the inner sanctum, the spiritual realization, symbolized by finding Sita.
So those inner battles are key.
Key to self-mastery, yes.
And Hanuman's humility throughout all this, his constant focus on Ramkaj doing Rama's work, that's also central.
Precisely. It underscores the idea that true spiritual progress comes through selflessness, through devotion to a higher purpose. And importantly, it's not just about his physical strength.
Right.
Hanuman's success hinges just as much on his intelligence, his strategy, his adaptability, like changing his form, analyzing situations, even the calculated destruction of the Ashokavatika. It shows that true devotion is powerful, but it's even more effective when complemented by wisdom and skillful action.
So bringing this all together, why does the Sundarkand matter so much to people, particularly Hindus, today? What are the spiritual, maybe even practical benefits they draw from it?
Well, the sources are very clear about its profound importance. On a spiritual level, it provides immense upliftment. It inspires bhakti, that loving devotion towards both Hanuman and Rama. Hanuman becomes this ultimate symbol of commitment, of selfless service, of unwavering devotion. There's this feeling that, everything is possible with faith and hard work, which his story embodies.
And reading or reciting it regularly.
It's believed to foster a deeper spiritual connection, bringing a sense of peace, devotion, gratitude, and optimism into one's life.
It's also seen very much as a tool for overcoming difficulties, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. It's considered a powerful spiritual tool for navigating obstacles, challenges, even negative energies or influences. It's seen as a source of hope and resilience.
So people turn to it in tough times.
Exactly. For solace, for spiritual assistance, it's believed to help dispel fears, remove barriers, cultivate optimism, and provide a kind of divine protection.
And beyond protection, does it inspire positive personal qualities?
Yes, absolutely. Reciting it is thought to help cultivate virtues like courage, humility despite his power. Hanuman is humble selflessness, loyalty, perseverance. He serves as a very practical role model. Even that act of destroying the Ashok Vatika can be seen allegorically teaching us to identify and dismantle negative influences or attachments in our own lives.
It sounds like it promotes a very holistic understanding of well-being.
It really does. Spiritual growth, psychological fortitude, even material prosperity are often seen as interconnected in this context. Devotees might seek inner peace, liberation from suffering, relief from illness, success in endeavors, protection, even resolution of legal issues through his recitation.
And the actual ritual surrounding the recitation, they seem quite involved sometimes.
They can be, yes. Practices like making a sankalp, an intention or vow,
Okay.
invoking the deities, engaging in focused recitation, maybe visualizing Hanuman's journey as you read, performing arti, the offering of light, sometimes even a hawan, a fire ceremony. These are seen as active steps in self-transformation.
Are there specific ways to observe it?
Often, yes. Emphasis is placed on devotion, focus, sometimes maintaining celibacy during the period of recitation, avoiding certain foods considered tamasic or heavy. Tuesdays and Saturdays are often considered particularly auspicious days for Hanuman worship and Sundarkand recitation. And it usually concludes with sharing prasad, blessed food.
And the attributed benefits are quite significant.
They are believed to be, yes, spiritual peace, liberation from negativity, blessings of prosperity and protection, and the development of those virtuous qualities we mentioned. There's even specific mention in some traditions of the particular power of reciting it consecutively for 21 days.
Wow.
But the key thing emphasized is accessibility. It's not about elaborate ritual necessarily. Sincerity and devotion are seen as the most important elements.
So moving beyond the individual practice, the Sundarkand clearly has this enduring, broad cultural legacy.
Absolutely. Its impact is undeniable, reflects this deep connection people feel to their traditions. And the universal themes, courage, hope, devotion, they just resonate across generations.
Yeah.
These stories are constantly recounted, especially during festivals, reinforcing cultural values. And the practice of collective chanting, which happens in temples and homes, is believed to create this powerful spiritual vibration and strengthen community bonds.
What about its influence specifically on literature and the arts? We touched on Tulsidas, but it goes beyond that.
Oh, definitely. The literary adaptations are vast. Beyond Valmiki and Tulsidas, there are numerous versions in regional languages, as we mentioned, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and so on. Each showcases its adaptability. And contemporary writers and artists continue to reinterpret the story, offering modern perspectives.
And in music.
Its influence is huge. Verses from the Sundarkand are often recited and sung, set to classical ragas, the melodic frameworks of Indian music. They're central to devotional music forms like bhajans and kirtans. While maybe not many classical compositions are specifically titled Sundarkand, the Ramayana epic as a whole profoundly influences the concept of rasa, the emotional essence in Hindustani music, and provides countless lyrical themes for Carnatic devotional songs. You can easily find recordings in various musical formats.
And other art forms. Theater, dance, painting.
Yes, across the board. In folk theater, you have the Ramlila, which Tulsidas himself is credited with initiating. But there are many other regional forms across India, like Akhyana, Baona, Pavai, Darshavatar, Harikatha, Yakshagana, that depict Ramayana episodes, including Hanuman's exploits.
A real blend of devotion and entertainment.
Exactly, using music, dance, elaborate costumes, and then in classical dance forms like Kathak and Tartanatam, depicting the rasa and bhava, the emotion and mood of Hanuman's journey is a common theme. Kathakali also draws heavily on Ramayana stories.
And painting.
Miniature painting traditions, Rajasthani, Mughal, Pahari, are filled with illustrations of Ramayana scenes, including the Sundarkand. Folk art forms, like fad paintings from Rajasthan, traditionally narrate epic stories, including the Ramayana and even the Hanuman Chalisa. Pichwai paintings, often associated with Krishna worship, also reflect these broader Hindu religious themes.
It's just so deeply woven into the cultural fabric of India.
It truly is a testament to its enduring power and relevance.
So to sort of summarize our deep dive today, what are the absolute key takeaways about the Sundarkand?
Well, I think in essence, the Sundarkand's beauty, that Sundar aspect, lies fundamentally in Hanuman's incredible character. Its absolutely pivotal role in turning the tide of the Ramayana narrative and the sheer hope it inspires. Tulsidas' revolutionary work, of course, made its wisdom accessible to millions. And its deep allegorical meaning offers guidance on the spiritual path, on facing our own inner and outer obstacles. It really continues to uplift, provide strength, and profoundly influence Indian culture today.
And for you, our listener who came to us looking for quick but thorough knowledge, hopefully this deep dive has given you a really rich understanding of the Sundarkand's multifaceted significance.
Yeah, and maybe a final thought to leave you with. Consider the immense challenges Hanuman faced, the ocean, the demons, Lanka itself, and how he overcame them through unwavering devotion and incredible resourcefulness. How might his journey mirror obstacles in your own life? What leap of faith, perhaps, might be needed in your own journey, inspired by his spirit? Maybe even exploring some of those regional Ramayana adaptations we mentioned could offer even more diverse perspectives on this incredibly powerful narrative. Something to think about.